Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Railbookers webinar this afternoon. That's me. I'm Gareth Jones, the Product and Purchasing Manager, and I'm going to be talking today about Switzerland and Italy, our top 5 holidays. First and foremost, what I'd like you all to do, if possible, just to make sure that you can all hear me and see me okay. It all seems to be up and running correctly my end, but just to make sure, if you'd be kind enough to navigate all the way to the questions area and leave me a little note in there on the questions bit, just to let me know where you are in the world and where you're tuning in from. It'd be good to know that everything is up and running fine. Also, that questions area, please do make use of it throughout the whole webinar. What I'll try and do, I'll try and dip in there as much as possible throughout the webinar, but then there will be 5 minutes at the end dedicated to questions. Gerald down in Devon, thank you very much. I'm a Cornishman myself, believe it or not. I reside in York at the moment though, so I'm up in York, up north. Oh, wonderful. Lots of you chiming in. Good stuff, good stuff. Thank you, everybody. Stephen, interested in how I could combine a rail trip to Swiss Alps and Italian nights visit to Livorno. What percentage extras first class? Good question, Stephen. What I'll do, I'll hold on to that until the end if that's all right, and we'll run through all the questions then. But good question. Leave it with me. Anyway, let's crack on. First thing I'd like to do is just to draw your attention to a great offer we have in place for any bookings made over the next few weeks. Okay, essentially it's called Pick Your Perk. What happens? What is it basically? So if you were to book a trip for 3 to 6 nights, you would receive £300 per couple or £150 from us to put towards a perk of your choice as extra to the holiday. Travel for 7 or 9 nights, £400 or £200 individually, or £400 per couple. Or if you're traveling for 10 nights or more, it's £500 discount per couple or £250 per person. Now, that value can be used towards upgrading your train ticket, for example, in answer to your questions, Stephen. So upgrading to first class, upgrading your hotel, maybe going for a 5-star, maybe going for a unique property somewhere on top of a mountain, for example. Upgrading your room. Think about Venice, for example, Venice Grand Canal view room there. Extend your stay, make it longer, add on nights or add on activities. That's in place for now for the next week. Okay, so have a look. It's a great offer. If you're new to Railbookers, this really helps, I think. Just a quick overview on who we are and what we do. With a name like Railbookers, you'd hope we know what we're talking about when it comes to train travel, and we do. We're rail experts from the best routes, the best times. We have direct partnerships with all the major rail operators around the world, meaning we have access to the train seats before they're made available to the public. You can book a trip with us from now to 2 years in advance. Now, granted, it's very, very difficult to think of anywhere we can travel by train to at the moment, internationally anyway. But we guarantee holiday prices for 2 years in advance. So you can pay a deposit now, a very small deposit, for example, for your bucket list trip 2023. And then the remaining balance isn't going to be due until 3 months prior to the trip, and there's not going to be any changes in the overall costs at all. Everything pretty much we offer, all of our holidays are completely flexible. And what I mean by that are you can add nights on, take nights away, you can change the hotels, you can upgrade the class train travel, you can add on tours, you can come to us and say, I can't see out of those 3,000 or more holidays you have on your website a holiday that has the destinations I want to travel to. Let us know those, because we can put that holiday together for you. As mentioned, we do have a very large range of hotel holidays, over 3,000, ranging from luxury private trains, multi-country journeys, or if you're just going for a river cruise somewhere, we can get you the train holiday there, a little kind of train lake on the way back, for example. Later on this evening, we will email you all a email, and there will be a link to these 4 digital brochures if you'd like to have a look, to download if you wish. So Railbookers is the worldwide brand. We have the luxury rail journeys, which is several private trains throughout the world, Rocky Mountaineer, Royal Scotsman, Venice Simplon Express, for example. Domestic for the UK, so UK and Ireland independent rail holidays. As you'd imagine, Scotland has been very popular this year. And cruise extensions, as mentioned, if you're looking to take a river cruise somewhere in Europe or elsewhere in the world next year, why not take the train there or back? Also, any bookings made now up until the 30th of June are covered by the maximum flexibility offer we have in place as well. So essentially it means, again, if a deposit paid on any trip, you can change the dates up to 5 days prior to departure without incurring any change or cancellation fees from ourselves. We waived all those cancellation fees. And when we finally do start traveling around the world again, it's good to know that wherever you are in the world, we have a 24-hour support team. So we have offices in the UK, 2 offices in the US on either coast, one in Beverly, just north of Boston, the other Laguna Hills, just south of Los Angeles, Toronto, Canada, and Sydney, Australia. Yes, everybody's working from home, but that doesn't take away that we're still working. We're there. Any passengers, any clients of ours will have an emergency contact number to call. They can reach any of the team, any point of any time of the day, if there's any problems or any questions. As mentioned, we are direct rail partners of all the major rail operators, be it Trenitalia in Italy, Deutsche Bahn in Germany, Amtrak in the US, and those luxury rail operators, Belmont, who run the Venice Simplon Express, and the Royal Scotsman train, Journey Beyond, who run those amazing trains down in Australia as well, the Garni in the Indian Pacific. What I mean by direct rail partnerships, we have a direct booking system with them, just them and us, and we have access to the train seats, and availability on the trains is often not available to the public. And after all, when we do get traveling again, hopefully by the final third of this year, what does it look like? What does traveling by train look like? Well, of course, everyone's wearing a mask, passengers and staff on the train and in the stations. Food and drink depends where you are in the world, whether you can still get catering on board or not. One thing I'd like to point out here, though, is it's not like flying, where there are restrictions on what you can take on board. You can take a picnic with you. Traveling from London, the Marks and Spencer's is open at St Pancras, so you're quite easy pop in there and get some sandwiches, get a picnic, snacks, etc., and take those on with you to enjoy. Changing seat configuration, allocation for social distancing, so getting used to have a bit more space, which is very nice, and increased cleaning and sanitation, which is very welcome. Of course, having cleaners on board the train rather than just cleaning at the start and the end of the trip. And contactless ticket control. So we're all going to get used to sort of these virtual tickets, I'm afraid, to get on your mobile or an email. And if you prefer as well, we can always print these things off for you and send them. It's nice. I quite like doing that from on a train trip, to be honest with you, in case anything happens to your phone or your tablet, you've got a physical paper copy as well, so we can do that. Right, let's have a look at some holidays, shall we? So first one we're going to look at is a great adventure by train. It really is. Sicily by train, from the UK all the way to Sicily by train. Quick outline of the routes: London, Paris. Change stations in Paris: Gare du Nord, where the Eurostar comes into Gare de Lyon. Direct train to Milan. Arrive Milan in the evening. Spend that night in Milan. Later on that day, we board a sleeper train, an overnight train, goes directly to Sicily. An amazing journey. Once you're in Sicily, 2 nights Taormina, 2 nights Catania, 2 nights Palermo. In Sicily as well, in each of those destinations, amazing sightseeing tours of Taormina, Catania, trip up the Mount Etna, so see all the wildlife and the amazing kind of landscape there, and then a sightseeing tour in Palermo as well. What's included in the cost? The train travel, the reservations on all the trains, breakfast at the hotels themselves. Hotel-wise, city centre, 4-star on average, and a flight from Palermo to the UK. Now it says London there, but it's any airport in the UK. Okay, it's not just one specific airline, it's one specific airport. It's to your local airport. Now, the first night is in Milan. You do arrive around about sort of 8:30 in the evening, so it's quite a late arrival, but help some dinner or something. But it often gets overlooked, Milan, compared to obviously Venice, Florence, and Rome. Obviously, the Duomo is beautiful. You can have an opportunity to go and see the Last Supper as well. The sleeper train leaves at 8:10 in the evening the following day, so you can quite easily add on a day trip up to Lake Como, for example. Or if you wanted a private tour of something like the Last Supper, it's very limited kind of numbers of people who can actually go and see it each day. Anyway, it's just a short drive up to Lake Como, and then a boat trip up to Bellagio can be organised for you. Back to Milan for the overnight train, have some dinner before you board. There's no restaurant on board the train. The train has a 4-berth couchettes or 2-berth cabins. No restaurant on board, so I said it's worth having some dinner, but taking provisions. It's a great opportunity to enjoy a bottle of wine on a train here. You will get coffee or tea in the morning from the steward, and there are toilet facilities at the end of every carriage. In the morning, it's a wonderfully scenic journey just south of Salerno as the train kind of comes along the coastline shore for a little while. And then the train goes onto a boat. The train goes onto a boat. That boat crosses the Straits of Messina from San Giovanni, arriving into Taormina around about 2 o'clock the next day. It's an amazing journey. It's quite unique. There used to be another train that went on a boat in Denmark, but got rid of that. So this is the only one that I know. And correct me if I'm wrong, please. But yeah, an amazing experience. Sadly, we haven't got any images of the train. It's very hard to get good images of a sleeper train, really. There's lots of sort of home personal photos, but they're not particularly good quality, really. But a great adventure. And then when you're there, you've got the joys of Taormina, Catania, and that amazing landscape of Mount Etna, and Palermo as well. Such rich history, such amazing food, such amazing architecture in each of them as well. The local train network is very good in Sicily, really, just between those three main cities. Not particularly kind of long journeys in any way. A truly breathtaking part of the world, really is. Now, heading to the south of France as well, the Amalfi coast via the Alps. Here, slightly different route going out as well. Here we're taking the route via Geneva. So again, London, Paris, Paris to Geneva, overnight in Geneva. With a great 4-star hotel partner called the Cornavin that's just over the road from the train station. So that's really convenient. The following morning, it's a relatively early departure. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30. Train from Geneva to Milan, change in Milan, on to Florence, overnight in Florence. It's got a good amount of time there to enjoy the afternoon. And then a direct train from Florence through to Naples. From Naples, you've got 2 options. There's a local train network that runs the trains through Sorrento. It's about an hour's journey, around about €4 or €5. You can only purchase those tickets locally. We can, of course, provide a private transfer. So you have a driver pick you up from Naples train station and drive you to your hotel in Sorrento. Again, includes the flight back to the UK. Overnight in Geneva. I often overlooked Geneva compared to a lot of places in Switzerland, like Zurich, Interlaken, for example. But the old town's very pretty down by the lake. You'll get there around about 6:30, so you've got time to go out and enjoy some dinner. Very pretty journey coming into Geneva from Paris for the final hour or so. You get good views of the Jura Mountains. Again, that sort of flexibility in the holiday is, why not have an extra night in Geneva, and then that full day you could enjoy a day trip to Chillon Castle, for example. It's a 20-minute train journey from Geneva to Lausanne, and then Lausanne you could pick up a Lake Geneva cruise, about an hour and a half. No, it's not even that way, about an hour and a half from Lausanne, leisurely cruise around the lake just past Montreux to Chillon Castle. Beautiful medieval castle, amazing kind of inside as well. There's also a restaurant you can have lunch on board the cruise ship, or there is a restaurant on the mainland here just by the castle as well. But really, really pretty, amazing scenery, but great opportunity to go and see at Chillon Castle as well. Anyway, yeah, Florence is the next place to stop as well. The train will get to Florence around about sort of 1:30. Still gives you a good part of the afternoon to go off and enjoy Florence. Perhaps even add on an Uffizi gallery tour that afternoon as well. But then down to Sorrento. We've got some wonderful hotel partners in Sorrento, the Antichi Mura and the Michelangelo, which are great 4-star properties. in the centre of Sorrento. If not the Hilton, which is slightly higher up, great views across the whole bay as well. And from Sorrento, included in the holiday is also a small group tour to the Isle of Capri and the Blue Grotto as well, and a small group day tour to Pompeii and Herculaneum as well. Again, there are great other opportunities of kind of experiences there as well. The one that I did a few years ago, where you kind of have a small tour down to the southern coast of the Amalfi Peninsula. You get the opportunity to kind of learn how to make limoncello, fresh lemons from the lemon groves as well. It's amazing. Next, we've got the Grand Venice, Florence, and Rome. Now, any holiday that you see on our website that starts with the word grand refers to it's all in first class. So first class is included with these train journeys here, the first class on board the trains. Same journey as before, so down to Geneva, and then the Simplon Pass, that train route to Milan, but the train continues to Venice. The Simplon Pass is a very historic route. It's where this Venice Simplon Orient Express gets the Simplon bit from, so the old Venice Orient Express route. Quite dramatic to start with, that first leg coming through kind of Switzerland, but then it drops down, skirts around Lake Majori, very close to get some great lake views, and carrying on to Venice, actually kind of skirts around Lake Garda as well, so very, very pretty. 2 nights in each of Venice, Florence, and Rome, and then a flight back to the UK. In Venice, you've got the obligatory gondola ride, but also Doge's Palace tour. Really worth it to get a better understanding of kind of history of the Venetian Republic and the power and the riches that it had. Florence, we've got the Uffizi Gallery tour and sightseeing tour as well. And in Rome, it's great. So we've got the ancient tour of the ancient Roman Forum, but also a tour of the Vatican museums and the Sistine Chapel and the Basilica. And my mind was blown when I went to the Vatican museums and the Sistine Chapel. It really was an amazing experience. Here, that price, just under £1,600 per person. That includes the flight back to the UK. If you don't want to fly, absolutely, again, that's where we've got that flexibility side of things. So you want to take the train back, no problem at all. We can change it. So overnight in Turin is a good idea. That way you've got a conveniently timed train from Turin to Paris and Paris to the UK on the way back. Venice, amazing. I mean, if you've been, I'm sure you'd agree, but if not, there's no other place like it on earth. There really isn't. Particularly arriving by train is so rewarding as well, because the station is right at the top of the Grand Canal. So you walk out the station and there is the Grand Canal right in front of you. The domestic trains in Italy, Trenitalia, fantastic rail network, really good. Now, as said, this package holidays included first class, but there is even further upgrades on a lot of the high-speed trains in Italy where you can upgrade to executive class, like this, for example. There's no meals included for the first class, but executive class, you do get meals, and these seats spin around so you can face out the windows all the way, if you like. Quite an experience. And of course, hotel-wise, you can upgrade the hotels as well. There's San Michele in Florence. It's an old monastery, and as you can see, it's slightly outside of Florence, but imagine enjoying breakfast and just looking over the rooftops of Florence. There's kind of regular complimentary transfers into Florence. It's only about a 15-minute drive. Really nice, but then kind of retreating to the hills with fresh air in the evening. Real kind of little bit of luxury. And of course, all the amazing history of Rome with that ancient tour of the ancient Roman Forum and the Colosseum, as well as the Vatican museums and Sistine Chapel. Skip the line, small group basis. So it's around about kind of maximum 16 people in a group. But again, if you'd rather have the private experience, we can make that happen. Now, next, let's focus on Switzerland a bit. This is our most popular Swiss holiday, scenic Switzerland. 8 nights, 9 days in total, and pretty much all the big sites of Switzerland. Here, we've included it with flights out and back. Again, if you'd rather take the train, no problem, let us know. One note, though, that flying into Switzerland, particularly Zurich and Geneva, is very, very convenient. It really is. The train stations of both the airports are so very well connected with the rest of the Swiss rail network. Very easy. Command of arrivals down into the train station. It's all in English, very regular, very clean, very good train system. Zurich Airport down to St. Moritz, 2 nights to St. Moritz, a day trip on the Iger Express into Italy and back. Then the full length of the Glacier Express heading west to Zermatt, 2 nights in Zermatt, in the shadows of the Matterhorn mountain. Day trip on the Gornergrat Railway, and then over to Montreux on Lake Geneva for a night there. Beautiful Lago vineyards. From Montreux, got the full length of the Golden Pass, all the way up to Lucerne, 3 nights in the heart of the Bernese Oberland. Day trips on the Jungfrau Railway and Mount Pilatus cogwheel railway as well. So in terms of the Swiss destination, St. Moritz, I mean, I've never been to seen so many fur coat shops in one place, to be honest with you. It's beautiful, tiny little town as well, it really is. And obviously quite historic in the world of travel, being one of the first group destinations in Victorian times where winter sports originated. During the spring and summer particularly, it's gorgeous. You've got lots of the lifts and the gondolas going up to the top of the mountains for the skiers. They still run. And it's beautiful going up there to see the Alpine flowers and the views down the Engadine Valley. And even have a stroll down by the lake as well. Very, very pretty. But the full day in between the 2 nights there is occupied with a day trip on the Iger Express. It's my favourite train, it really is, in many people's kind of top 3 most scenic journeys in Europe, if not the world. You go from some of the highest Alpine peaks, dropping down past beautiful kind of crystal clear blue Alpine lakes, dropping down into eventually a palm tree lined valley in northern Italy. From here, as we're doing a day trip, have around about an hour and a half. And that hour and a half spent, there's 2 lovely tavernas, there's a lovely little church, have a look around, have a nice pizza, a glass of wine, and then jump on the train and head back up. Now, it's going by the same route, but the scenery takes on a different personality in the different light. It really is a lovely day spent traveling by train. This is the Brusio Viaduct. It's one of the many key pieces of amazing engineering. It goes down 360 degrees like a corkscrew. As you can see there, the train has panoramic windows. Now, that's the Iger Express train. Normal trains also run this route, but of course, we make sure you have reservations on the right train, the train with the panoramic window, so the windows all around. It's really dramatic. You can see the image there, how small the village looks compared to the kind of towering mountains and things. It really is a wonderful train journey. Leaving St. Moritz, we're on the kind of second famous train, in inverted commas, of Switzerland, the Glacier Express. Now, of course, you don't get a name like the Glacier Express without seeing some amazing scenery. And that's what you do on this train. It's breathtaking. It really is. This is first class. There's also second class. The difference is for first class, there's 2 people sat next to one another on one side and one person sat opposite one another on the other. So it's the seating really. Second class, it's tables for 2 next to each other one side and 2 next to each other the other side. So a little less leg room, but all the carriages have been upgraded as of last year. So you can actually open some windows now at the end of the carriages as well, which is quite good if you're a keen photographer. In first class and second class, you can order a meal with drinks paid on board or freshly cooked on board as well. And it's a wonderful journey. I mean, you go over nearly 300 bridges, you go by Switzerland's Grand Canyon, which is very dramatic, really is. Train doesn't run in November, and unlike the Iger Express, the Glacier Express, this is the only train that runs this route in full. You can do bits on normal trains, but not the whole route from St. Moritz to Zermatt or vice versa. So if you have a reservation on the Glacier Express, you're going to be in the panoramic carriages. Zermatt, just going to quickly touch on Zermatt. Beautiful Alpine village, no cars. You get around by golf buggy, walking, or horse and cart. We work with the Schweizerhof, is one of our favourite hotels, downtown Zermatt, 4-star superior, just a little short walk from the station. very traditional sort of Swiss building with every room having a balcony. Also, though, halfway up the Gornergrat cogwheel railway route, which we'll look at shortly, you can get off the cogwheel train at a place called the Riffel Alp Resort, which, if you're familiar with the Night Manager, the John le Carré book, which was made into a TV show about 5 years ago, you'll be familiar with this hotel. It's amazing. 5-star, peace, quiet, serenity, just next door to a beautifully fragrant pine forest in the heart of the Swiss Alps. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, it really is. After you stay in Zermatt, it's out to Montreux. Montreux, here's a great view, I think, of the Lago vineyards, UNESCO heritage status, these vineyards, very, very steep, and some great wine that the Swiss keep secret and keep to themselves. Montreux, obviously glitz and glamour of the Montreux Jazz Festival, but huge musical heritage. It is only one night here, but if you take a morning train from Zermatt, the Chillon Castle is just a 30-minute walk along the coast, along the shore. So you can either walk around or take a bus, 10-minute bus journey, or even take a boat, 5-minute boat journey at Chillon Castle. So you get the opportunity to go there here as well. But the third famous, inverted commas, train in Switzerland included here is the Golden Pass. Now, the Golden Pass is the name of the train line here. The line runs from Montreux to Interlaken and Interlaken to Lucerne. So you're doing the full length of the Golden Pass line on this day. The first part of it, it's beautiful. All of it is beautiful. I can't say the first part of it. So the first part of it it's not as dramatic as the Glacier or Bernina Express in terms of the scenery. You sort of coming up from Montreux, you could kind of climb quite high coming out to the lake, coming away from the lake. But then you're sort of, I always call it Heidi country. You know, it's where the best Swiss chocolate and the best Swiss cheese comes from. Rolling green pastures, very hilly, lots of kind of cowbells ringing. Beautiful scenery, really is lovely. As I said, that train runs up to Interlaken. You change trains in Interlaken, but you're still on the Golden Pass line, and it gets quite dramatic then through some of the big mountains in the Bernese Overland into Lucerne. No catering on board here, very much like the Bernina Express, but there is a trolley service to buy drinks and things as well. Lucerne, you can get a bit of a glimpse of Lucerne at that kind of town on the left-hand side, all the way down there. It's beautiful, Lucerne, the Chapel Bridge and things like that, but what we're going to focus on here are what things to do from Lucerne. And included in the holiday is the Mount Pilatus Railway. So this is the top of Mount Pilatus. A quick rundown of how we do the day trip. So during the spring and summer, most of the year, you take a lake cruise from Lucerne round to the other side of the mountain, and then the steepest cog-wheeled railway in the world to the top of the mountain. It takes around about half an hour. That's on the right-hand side of the image. That's where the train comes into the building there. Up there, building, there's a bar, a restaurant, a Swiss Army knife shop, a Swiss watch shop, of course. There are some nice trails, walking trails to have around. There's a great legend of a sleeping dragon in the mountain, which is great. Up here as well, just out of picture, there's a lovely hotel. It's only about 30 rooms. It's called the Pilatus Calm Hotel. The mountain itself shuts down around about sort of 5:36. So the only people at the top of the mountain are those staying in the hotel. Dinner's included in this grand dining room, and then the evening you just enjoy being in the stars. It's amazing. The stars are so close to the heavens that the stars look like little light bulbs dangling down. Beautiful on a clear day, and of course the views are spectacular. It really are as the sun goes down over the mountains. Excuse me. What's included is the day trip, so you just come up there and then have fun up there, have a wander around. Coming back down the mountain, you take the cable car that you can see in the middle down the other side of the mountain. Take the cable car for about 10 minutes, and then you jump onto a gondola, an air gondola that takes another about 10 minutes into Lucerne. During autumn and winter, the cogwheel train can't run because it's quite historic. So the way up and down the mountain is via the gondola cable car up and down. But you still get to enjoy the amazing view from the top. Even actually just looking at this image, just outside a picture on the left-hand side is a beautiful tiny little chapel perched on this rocky outcrop. It's amazing. Beautiful part of the world, it really is. The other day trip included is the Jungfraujoch Railway. This is a day of drama in some ways, it really is. It's the highest railway station in Europe. This is what it looks like when you get to the top. Foot of this, the biggest glacier in Europe. On a clear day, you can see as far as Italy, France, Germany. There's a couple of restaurants up here. Either during the spring and summer, you can get out and have a walk around on the glacier. To get there, it's a few different journey trains changing, but the last one, which is the Jungfrau Railway, actually passes through the Iger mountain. The Iger is next door to the Jungfrau mountain. It passes through the mountain, and the station is inside the Jungfrau mountain itself. Coming back down, there's a new piece of transportation that's been added as of this year as well. It's called the Iger Express. It's a very, very scenic gondola ride for about 10 minutes from the Jungfraujoch down to Grindelwald. You come past the north face of the Iger. Amazing scenery. But again, going up and down the mountain is beautifully scenic as well. Come up via Lauterbrunnen, so take a train from Interlaken to Lauterbrunnen. Here you get views of the amazing waterfall of Lauterbrunnen. You have the opportunity to have a wander around. There are no reservations, so you're completely open to jump on any train you would like at whatever time. There's a train every sort of half an hour, so very, very convenient, and for you to kind of make your own timings out of it as well. And the final holiday we're going to look at is combining the Glacier Express and the Vineyards Express together with the world's most famous train, I'd say, the Venice Simplon Express. Here we're taking the VSOE from London to Venice. 3 nights in Venice, some great sightseeing activities, get to the Doge's Palace and the Golden Basilica, skip the lines again. But then up via Milan and the Vineyards Express to St. Moritz, 2 nights by the lake again to relax, and then the full length of the Glacier Express through to Zermatt, 2 nights in Zermatt before coming back to Zurich and a flight back to the UK, or if you prefer, take the train from Zurich to Paris and Paris to London. So the VSOE, it doesn't run between November and March, and when it does run March till the first week of November, it only runs a couple of times a week. But there's no other experience like it on rail by train. There really isn't. It's such a piece of history, such a unique train. It's second to none in terms of a rail experience. This is the bar car, normally the hub of the train. Sadly, this year, due to social distancing, they've taken the decision to close the bar car, but that's not a bad thing, because when they do start running the train again in July, the restaurant cars, there are 3 restaurant cars, and they're each individual and each different to one another, and they're amazing pieces of art. Just the craftsmanship alone is beautiful. But they've opened those, so they're going to be day cars, so passengers can sit and relax in the restaurant cars and meet fellow passengers, but still be served drinks from the bar cars. Just that little bit of extra space. Here's the lounge car as well, just at the hub of the train. The journey itself from London, board the train in Victoria, around about sort of 9:30 check-in, 9 o'clock check-in. The British Pullman, which is the historic kind of classic train, down to the coast, champagne-fueled lunch for everybody on board then. And then it's a quick half an hour on an executive coach, a luxury coach journey through to Calais. Calais is where you find the Orient Express itself, with all the staff lined up outside. There's a big brass band, very much a red carpet gala welcome on board. The staff will show all passengers to their accommodation on board. The luggage that the passengers have checked in Victoria has miraculously made its way into their cabins for them here. So here it is. As you can see, you can wind the window down. There's a little table that pops up. On the right-hand side in the bottom corner, you can just about make out a door handle. That opens up into a nice little sink, or a vanity, or the basin sink. luxury amenities, very soft luxury towels. This hot running water, the hot running water is powered by a coal stove. There's a coal stove at the end of every carriage that's, again, managed by the steward. It's a phrase about the train that it doesn't matter whether you are or were back in the old days in the 30s and 40s when it ran. If you were royalty, or 20s even, sorry, if you were royalty or rich, it didn't matter, no one got a shower. And there's no ensuite facilities here. There are toilet facilities at the end of every carriage, but there's no ensuite. Okay. In between each twin cabin, there is a door. That door can be opened and it can be booked. 2 twin cabins can be booked together with the door open. Be it for 4 people traveling together, or if you're doing it just the 2 of you, it's great because then you've got the separate seating area and the separate sleeping area already. Otherwise, obviously, the seats turn into the beds. But during the night as well, you can either have 2 kind of level beds rather than the bunk beds. Now, it's not particularly steep to get to the top bunk, but some people really prefer. There is also on the train, however, 3 of these. These are grand suites. They are possibly the most luxurious accommodation on board any train in the world. It's arguable, I would say, but they're up there, definitely. Amazing. Double bed, ensuite facilities here, champagne, caviar, all included, minibar, guaranteed table for 2 at dinner. The staff on board do try to make sure that everybody celebrating a special occasion has a table for 2, but some, there are tables for 4 to share as well. But yeah, real experience. In Venice, of course, as you'd assume, we do have a great selection of hotels. The holiday is included a sort of 4-star called the Palazzo Giovanelli, a wonderful hotel on the Grand Canal. One of my personal favorites, the Siena Centurion Palace, a 5-star award-winning hotel, again, right on the Grand Canal. There's a restaurant downstairs on the Grand Canal itself with a kind of balcony area. Great selection of rooms, many of them obviously featuring Grand Canal views, etc. As mentioned, coming up via Milan, via the Glacier Express to St. Moritz. St. Moritz again over to Zermatt on the Glacier Express. We've seen the 1st class, and we've spoken about the 2nd class. On the Glacier Express, there is also excellence class, a 3rd class. Now, arguably, again, the most sort of luxurious daytime train seats in Europe, absolutely. I mean, it's up there. I think the only service like the excellence class might be the Rocky Mountaineer, but obviously it is very different. Now, there's only one of these carriages per train, and there's only 20 seats in each carriage. They're all 2 seats opposite one another. As you can see, then there's an exclusive bar just for people in excellence class. There's a 4-course lunch included, matching wines, afternoon tea. Everybody gets a tablet or iPad for the journey to tell them about the scenery you're passing by, red carpet treatment, luggage is transferred from where you board the train to the final destination here as well, so you haven't got to worry about storing it anywhere. But as I said, there's only 20 seats, so extremely limited availability. And finally, I said the Gornergrat. So we said we're going to come back to it here. It's a wonderful day trip from Zermatt. It really is. It's the highest outdoor railway station in Europe. So they're quite competitive, these mountain railways. The Jungfrau, highest station in Europe. The Gornergrat Plateau, the highest open station in Europe. Amazing views, and it only takes around about half an hour to get to the top. There's no 1st class, it's just 1 class only. You see the trains just up and down, really. Beautiful scenery. Once you're at the top, you've got great views around about over 20 different mountain peaks over 3,000 meters above sea level, including the iconic Matterhorn, of course, as well. Up here, there's some very easy trails. Have a bit of walk and get a good breath of fresh air. There is a bar, a restaurant to get some lunch. You've got a good chance of seeing some wildlife up here. There's marmots, ibex running freely, etc. as well. So there we go. if you'd like to find out more, have a look at railbookers.co.uk. Please do. We have launched a new website, so redid our website a couple of weeks ago. So do have a look. Destinations is great. Obviously, shows you everywhere. We've got holidays, but holiday types. There's great selections of different kind of ideas there. Sleeper train holidays, luxury train holidays, lots of different ideas, but also some great blogs on there as well if you want to have a look. And now it's question time. Let me just open up the questions box. Oh, great, wonderful. Lots and lots of questions. So, Stephen, thank you for your patience. I'm interested in how I could combine a rail trip to the Swiss Alps and Italian lakes with a visit family. Very easily, Stephen. As I said, there's a couple of great routes from Switzerland into Italy. And then from Italy, you've got great access. As I said, there's a very regular train from Tirano. If you were to take the Iger Express route, Tirano to Milan. Milan is very much the gateway, or the rail gateway to Italy in a way, so you can get trains anywhere pretty much, Livorno included, from Milan. Otherwise, you could come via, do a lot in Switzerland, come via the Simplon Pass route. Otherwise, there's a very regular train service from sort of Zurich, even Artgold down to Milan. Could even look at a great journey. Oh, it's wonderful. What's that called? Lago Majori Express, which runs from Locarno. It combines a trip from Locarno on the Central Valley Railway to Domodossola on Lake Maggiore, and then come down Lake Maggiore from Stresa into Milan. Lots and lots of different routings there. Again, so you can have a look at all the different ideas we have in terms of holidays, or let us know a few destinations you're interested in kind of joining up, and we can make that happen for you. In terms of the extra costs for first class travel, it depends where you are really. So in Italy, for example, the upgrade difference isn't that much on the whole really. Whereas the Eurostar, for example, for that journey, you're looking around about sort of 60, 70 pounds per person to upgrade to standard Premier the first class. Whereas in Italy, maybe looking, depending on the journey, 10, 20 pounds per person to upgrade to first class. I hope that's helped. Joy, great question. So just in terms of why food service is not available on some trains due to COVID. So a buffet car, for example, on a normal train requires people to go to the buffet car to order food. In first class, a lot of the time they do have trolley service, etc., but they still have one car, buffet car, which should be open for people to go to. So it's to avoid people congregating to go to and crowd together, trying to order the sandwiches and things from the buffet car. And things like the Glacier Express, for example, where they're cooking a meal, it's all served to a seat, so you can socially distance people in the seating, and then they can pay and food will be brought to them one by one, rather than people congregating and to get served as such. Hope that helps. I think it's just more to do with organizing people. As said, though, we are seeing things week by week changing throughout the world. More and more trains are running. For example, in France, even though they've obviously got a bit of a lockdown going on, oh dear, lost my train of thought now. The French unions, the rail unions, forgive me, the powers that they have, they managed to convince the government to allow them to run some TGVs, the high-speed train, at full capacity. In Italy, most places in Europe, still running around about sort of 60 to 70% capacity. And what you are seeing quite prevalently, which I think is good kind of practice as well, is a one-way system. So the carriages, doors at the end of each carriage on a train, one door will be where people get on the train, and the other door at the end of the carriage is where people get off the train. Joy, again, good question. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it is gradually opening up. I think by the time that Europe is back up and running, say in kind of 3 to 4 months time, hopefully we will find that buffet cars are sort of opening up again. We are obviously expecting as well more trains to be working on a trolley basis, so kind of pushing a trolley through the train and serving people at their seats as well. Well, thank you very much, everybody. You've been listening to me rattle on for quite a while, so I do really appreciate your time, and I hope you found it helpful and informative and entertaining a little bit. Any further questions or anything, if we can help with anything, please don't hesitate and give us a call, 0203 780 2222, or have a look on the website again, railbookers.co.uk, or feel free to drop me an email, gareth.jones@railbookers.com. Thanks very much, everybody. All the best. Take care. Keep well. And yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.